Good morning and welcome again to our time of just sitting down and spending a few moments in the Word together. When you put all of our passages together, it's fascinating the theme that comes out today. For instance, you see that the attitudes of Laban and the attitudes of Laban's sons have changed toward Jacob. And we see that the attitudes of some people have changed toward Jesus. Sometimes as Christians, we're a little naive about attitudes because we work so hard on our attitudes and we work so hard on having correct attitudes about things that we forget that the rest of the world doesn't think like that. Laban and his sons had their attitudes changed toward Jacob because Jacob was now doing better than them. He had brought them great wealth and they had enjoyed taking advantage of him. But once he began to do well, they began to get an attitude. You often find this in people that as long as you're helping them, they're very happy with you. But as soon as you begin to have a little prosperity and blessings for your family, their attitudes toward you get a little different. But look at the attitude change with Jesus, because sometimes we forget that if you look here in verse 14 of chapter 12 in Matthew, this is when they first began to plot to kill Jesus. Now immediately you think it's because he healed the man. But there's far more to the story than that. The attitudes didn't manifest in wanting to murder him just because Jesus healed a man. If you back up through the rest of the beginning of the chapter, you'll find that Jesus has corrected these people. And he said, listen, you have bad attitudes. Because remember the homework I gave you in chapter 9 about going out and learning what this means? I desire mercy, not sacrifice. He said, if you had learned what that means, if you knew what that meant, you would not have condemned the innocent. So first he corrects them. Now then he goes into their synagogue. Look at verse 9. Their synagogue. He goes into the place where this is their territory and their turf. Now their attitude is already getting a little interesting. Because he has corrected them, he's now on their territory. So they begin to look for a reason to accuse him. They think, okay, we're going to get even now. We lost face because of him in front of people. This is our territory. We're going to get our face back. But instead of getting their face back, he again shows what a poor understanding they have of Scripture. And again, they lose more face and get more humiliated. And then he demonstrates their powerlessness as he heals the man with the shriveled hand. So yes, their attitudes turned murderous, but it was not a one-step process. It was caused by the losing of face. It was accentuated by the fact that he went into their territory, and again, they lost face. Now it's their fault. They were the ones who attacked him. It's not Jesus' fault, and he showed how powerless they are. Now all that to say this. In the workplace every day, you have to be very careful when you watch the hearts of people changing toward you. Sometimes the hearts of people change toward you because you're prosperous, and rather than being beneath them, you have now come up to their level or maybe even above them. Sometimes it's because people want to show how smart they are and they seek to correct you, and instead of showing how smart they are, they showed how ignorant they are. And then when you were in their territory, they did it again and they became even more foolish, and from that point forward, you have an enemy for life. So you and I need to have a little bit of wisdom in this. I didn't say don't correct, and I didn't say don't speak truth, and I didn't say be political. But have a little wisdom in life to understand that as people's attitudes toward you change, they're not feeling the same toward you. And they might want to try to hurt you one day. In your business, in your career. In Jesus' case, they plan to murder him. Watch the attitudes of other people as they change toward you.